Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel, Sounds Right with Sam. This video is an attempt to give you some information about my intonation course. As you can all understand, I'm sure, I'm not just here making videos for you out of the goodness of my heart. I also sell courses and other products that I have created myself. And the one that I want to talk about today, like I said, is my intonation course. Intonation on the whole is a very neglected subject in probably foreign language teaching in general. I don't think this rule only applies to English. Certainly when I've studied foreign languages, intonation has often been almost completely neglected. But I teach English, at least that's what I'm doing today, and with this course, and I want to talk a little bit about the importance of intonation in English. I have a Russian friend, and she once told me that I should write an intonation course to try and explain just what the hell was going on with English intonation. Why? Because she told me that she had read about it and been completely and utterly baffled and perplexed by the complexity of English intonation. And I mean, English is my language. To me, it just sounds normal. So I wasn't even really sure what she was talking about. And I was somebody, and I'm somebody, who had studied phonetics and phonology at a postgraduate level. So when she told me that English intonation was this complex and confusing, I was a bit surprised. I thought, huh? Is it? Anyway, eventually I got round to looking into it seriously, reading real academic, serious linguistic books on English intonation, and I have to say I was astonished by how complicated and confusing it was. Understanding the underlying principles actually took even me a certain amount of time. Of course, I know how it works when I'm speaking, but an explicit, conscious understanding of it was something that I just didn't have. So, once I'd finished doing my own researches into intonation, I decided to take the most important material and the material that I thought would be most accessible to non-native students of English and put it all into one course devoted purely to intonation. And that is what I have done. I don't believe you'll find many other intonation courses like this one. You'll probably find quite a lot of more general English pronunciation courses dealing with individual sounds, phonemes as we call them, and their various allophones in English. How do you pronounce th? How do you pronounce w? How do you pronounce r? Etc., etc. That kind of course you'll find fairly easily, I'm sure, on the internet. But intonation courses, you'd be surprised. There aren't that many. And most English teachers will not really know anything rigorous or useful about intonation anyway. Rather than keep talking about that here, what I'm going to do now is transition, as it were, to the screen capture part of this video to go through the course and talk you through what exactly it has in it. So we start off with an introduction. What is this course about? Why is intonation important? Can't I just pick this stuff up through listening? Why should I learn about intonation from you? Who is this course for? I think I already know this stuff. What does this course consist of? That's important information, I think. But then we come through into part 2, a brief introduction to stress, where I talk about what stress actually is, phonetically speaking. You might think it's obvious how stress is created in English, but the way in which stress is created in a language varies from one language to the next. It's not as obvious as you might think. Then, part 3, we look at stress in unmarked sentences. These are the standard stress patterns in terms of where stress goes, in terms of which word stress goes on in unmarked neutral sentences. So most of the time, we are using these unmarked neutral sentences when we speak English, right? So we've got general considerations, compounds, double stress compounds. We've got all these different word types, sentence types, and we discuss where exactly stress goes in sentences, be they statements or questions. Then we come through to the end of that section. Then we come into part 4, which is stress in marked sentences. Marked sentences are not the neutral standard sentence patterns or intonation patterns. Marked and unmarked are general terms in linguistics for things that are standard, those are unmarked, and things that are non-standard, that diverge from the norm. Anything that diverges from the norm is called marked in linguistics. So we start looking at the way in which we use intonation, which is to say stress and melody, to create marked sentences. And this is a very, very important area if you want to learn to use stress correctly. I can say in English, I'm going to go and give it to him. And I can say, I'm going to go and give it to him. The second version of that sentence, where I stress the word him, is marked. It's not the standard way of saying it. It's not the neutral way of saying it. It's not the unmarked way of saying it. It's the marked way of saying it, right? So to be expressive, if you want to really master English and understand how it works, you have to understand the difference between marked sentences and unmarked sentences. This is to do with stress, and then eventually we come here to part 5, which is melody in English. And here you'll learn about the 3 different tones of English: the falling tone, the fall-rise tone, and the rising tone. These are things that I talk about in some of my videos, but you can see we talk about them here. And then we look at statements, and presumably after statements we have, what do we have? Negative statements. Statements as contradictions, questions, WH questions, yes, no questions, disjunctive questions, subsidiary question types. We look at a very broad range of stuff here: other sentence types, exclamations, affirmative commands, negative commands. You can see this isn't some sort of 4-page PDF that I'm using to try and get money out of people. This is actually quite a serious examination of intonation, which is to say stress, and melody as I define it in English. Sequences of tones here, and then towards the end of the document we have exercises. We have 10 short dialogues and we have 3 longer dialogues, and I present them without any stress or melody markings at all. And what you do, if you get this far, is go through them and put in your own stress and melody markings on the basis of your understanding of this material. And then we come through to another copy, if you like, of each dialogue, where I've put in my version of each sentence. And also in the audio files you will hear me reading all of this stuff out, and that will allow you to actually hear the intonation patterns in use. So you can see that it's really quite a substantial course, quite a substantial document, and if you can master even half of what is in this, then I do think that it'll make a huge difference to the quality and the expressiveness and the authenticity of your English. So that's the course. You can see that the ebook is nearly 80 pages long. It's not as long as the ebooks that accompany my specialized pronunciation courses for Chinese speakers and Russian speakers, but it's very dense and there's a lot of information in it, and it will take you a long time to learn, I promise you. There are also extensive audio files, and the audio files are essentially me reading out loud the entire course and everything in it. I read the text itself, and I also read all of the sample sentences using the intonation patterns that are marked in the text. So the audio files as a whole give you an incredibly good opportunity to hear all of the phenomena that I discuss in the course. The course is only $30. It's $30 and therefore much cheaper than most other courses that you can buy on the internet these days, because I don't have any overheads. There's no expensive platform, there's no website, there are no fancy video lectures that are expensive to create, to produce. So you have the ebook and you have the audio files, and you just download those directly from me. There's no fancy hosting service anywhere that might end up pushing up my costs and therefore my prices. So it's $30, and that's a one-off payment, and then you'll get a download link and you can download the PDF, and you can download all the audio files too. A word of warning: if your English is not at least at an upper intermediate level, if you're not approximately B2 or higher, then you probably shouldn't buy my course. If you're speaking English at an A1, A2 or B1, more realistically speaking, level, then when you speak English, your brain is still going to be buzzing away, desperately trying to create sentences correctly, use correct grammar, use our vocabulary correctly, and you're not going to have that much brain power left over to think about intonation. So if you haven't already reached some sort of B2 level, then I recommend that you not buy the course at this moment in time. If you do buy it, I can't offer any refunds. Like I said, this isn't a platform, it's not a website, it's not something you subscribe to and lose access to when you stop subscribing. It's a one-off download, and for that reason I can't offer I don't have a return policy. I can't offer any refunds. So think about that too before you buy it, okay? That said, it's not that expensive, and I think, of course I would say this, but I think it's good value for money. So have a think about it, and if you have any questions about it, you can let me know down in the comments below. That's it for today. Thanks very much for watching this video. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.